All right, joining me now, Congressman Mike Turner is a Republican of Ohio, representing the Buckeye State's 10th Congressional District. He's chairman of House Intelligence. He tweets at Rep. Mike Turner. Mr. Chairman, welcome back.
Thank you, Julie. Appreciate it.
Really, really great to have you. I love this headline in the Examiner. Mike Turner claims China bigger threat than aliens. Would you like to defend that, sir?
Yeah, I kind of thought it was obvious. I was kind of surprised it was a headline. But yes, China, I mean, really in all areas, they're attacking the United States. They're a self-declared adversary, and we need to start treating them like one.
What is the very latest with China? What are you working on right now?
Well, we're definitely seeing the increased effects of their cyber campaigns to weaken the United States. I know anybody who's in industry knows that daily they have attacks coming from China, and they certainly have an economic threat there, but we have a security threat also as they look to weaken our infrastructure, our defense infrastructure. All of those areas are ways in which we need to strengthen both our cyber capabilities, and we need to start looking at our cyber offensive capabilities so that we can put China on notice that we're going to play too, and that the risk is actually to them.
Mr. Chairman, what did you make of the Chinese government's call encouraging its citizens to join counter-espionage work? That was strange, but yet ominous.
You know, President Xi has made it clear that he views that his nation is on a path for conflict and war. He's said it in speeches. He's said it clearly in identifying the United States, and we need to be prepared. He's called his nation to be prepared for conflict, and yet we still haven't taken their threat seriously. You know, when you have Janet Yellen bowing before her counterpart in China, you would understand this administration does not understand that China is both a current and a growing threat.
There's also been reports recently, sir, that China's assistance to Russia is having a meaningful impact on their offensive work in Ukraine. What do you make of that?
Well, the administration has at least made it clear with our NATO allies and our European allies that we would not tolerate military aid directly to Russia. If Chinese weapons showed up on the battlefield in Ukraine, it would be a major issue for our European allies and for the United States that China had entered into this conflict, of this war of aggression by Russia. The ways that they can support them, allowing them to continue this, is obviously financially getting around U.S. sanctions, both in the energy sector, in transfer payments, allowing them to convert their currency and to support their currency, and in trade. Our intelligence community has recently issued a report indicating that they're seeing that level of support from China, and it certainly permits Russia to continue this conflict.
And what about the somewhat overlooked Cuba piece of this? The China-Cuba relationship seems to be strengthening, and that also seems to be a threat to the U.S., potentially.
Absolutely. This is very concerning. I mean, the relationship between China and Russia previously was the issue. The Obama administration having moved to open relationships more between the United States and Cuba, clearly being ineffective, as you see now. Cuba continuing to try to affiliate itself with those who are a threat to the United States, and that certainly by welcoming China in and what it may attempt to do offshore to the United States is really an indication of a growing threat.
Other than Janet Yellen, what do you make of the Biden administration handling of China broadly?
Well, broadly, it's been constantly trying to apologize. I would say it's almost an apologetic relationship. Even our Secretary of State has twice been in front of China where they've publicly and openly chastised him without a corresponding response. It's as if that this administration believes that if we're more apologetic, that we will get a normalization of relations. Well, China already sees that the relationship are in their sense normal, and that they're having full reign to be able to attack and diminish the United States and our interests at the same time, but they're having full access to trade and support by this administration.
Further, sir, you were the mayor of Dayton for 8 years, and there's some new legislation to uphold the Dayton Peace Accords. Can you tell us about that and your role in it back in the day?
Sure, sure, absolutely. So in the Dayton Peace Accords, what were hosted here in Dayton, Ohio, they stopped the war that was there, and
There was a
the
war in Dayton?
disintegration of Yugoslavia. No, I'm sorry, in the Balkans, in the Balkans. Yes, thank you. That would not be good. Thank you for correcting that. I should start talking about aliens again. So in the Dayton Peace Accord, there was a war in the Balkans with the disintegration of Yugoslavia, and the leaders in that area were brought to this area in Dayton, Ohio, for negotiations for peace. Unfortunately, that area continues to be divisive. There are some areas that are under the influence of Russia, and our concern is that as Russia's conflict in Ukraine continues, that they're looking for other areas to cause destabilization. And so the Sanctions Act is an attempt to give this administration ability to sanction those throughout the Balkans that may be looking to support Russia and destabilize Europe.
Are the Balkans vulnerable, do you believe?
Absolutely. You know, the Dayton Peace Accords ended the war, but it never really brought a lasting peace. There still is division in Bosnia itself. There's conflict between Serbia and Kosovo, and those areas still remain a possibility for destabilization.
Congressman Michael Turner is a Republican of Ohio. He's chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. Mr. Chairman, we have quite a spectacle in Washington, D.C. today with former President Trump being arraigned. What do you think about it?
So this is obviously a very sad day, and this path that this administration has been on, and really the Democrat Party of just trying to take down Donald Trump through indictments across the country, is really an abuse of the judicial system and abuse of the criminal system. I certainly hope that as these cases progress, that Donald Trump is victorious and takes them down for what they are, which is basically an attempt to interfere in the electoral processes. When they brought forth the last impeachment of Donald Trump as he was leaving office, it was clear that their intent was to try to prevent him from being able to seek office again. I think clearly the Democratic Party is very concerned about just standing up to a debate with Donald Trump, and so they're trying to drag him to court.
Chairman Mike Turner, Republican of Ohio. Thank you so much for joining me. Great to catch up with you.
Great. Thanks, Julie. Take care.